Hey, I mean, it's not so bad. Not really. It's bad, but not as bad as we thought it could have been. In fact, maybe the other guy got it worse. Earlier at 8:45 a.m. my time, we had ourselves news from the Montreal Canadiens as to the verdict on David Reinbacher. Take a look at this. D-man David Reinbacher underwent surgery to his left knee this morning. His rehab period is expected to be from 5 to 6 months. Now, 5 to 6 months, that sucks. That really sucks, eh? Man, okay, let's just do worst case scenario, 6 months, so it's October 1st right now, that's great. November, December, January, February, March, April. We have David Reinbacher, who is probably going to return to hockey at the end of the 24-25 season. Yeah, that sucks. You know, the worst part is he really could have used this year in Laval. He needed this year after such a terrible season in EHC Cloton last year. Not that Reinbacher himself was terrible last year, but the team itself stunk. So this is really what he needed. To be able to play on a team that was competent, that had talent around him, where he didn't need to be relied upon so heavily, and now he has that first season taken away from him. He's 19 years old, so obviously there's a lot of time still for him to become a good NHL player, but as we had talked about in the video yesterday, this is the timeline that Olli Juolevi went down with the Vancouver Canucks all those years ago, and you know, my red flags are starting to raise themselves up a little bit. Not because Reinbacher had anything to do with him getting injured, not that it's his fault, but it's just so unfortunate when you think about the circumstances and everything in between. But with this negative news about Reinbacher, we actually have somewhat positive news that came out, what is that like, so 15 minutes plus 3 plus 2, 5 hours and 15 minutes later in the day. Take a look at this. Forward Patrik Laine sustained the sprain to his left knee that will not require surgery. His rehab period is expected to be from 2 to 3 months. As I had said, hey, it's not so bad. Not really. Look at all the replies. We are so back, holy effing F. This tweet got 400,000 views in the span of about an hour, and Montreal Canadiens fans are hyped. Patrik Laine will be out until, let's just say, 3 months, so November, December, January. In the new year, Patrik Laine is probably going to come back sometime then. And you think about it, okay, how many games are there from October to January, let's just say? That's about like half the year. Patrik Laine coming back to play maybe 41 NHL games in 2024-2025 with the Montreal Canadiens in a contract year nonetheless. This is a lot better than we thought. And look, I'm not going to pretend that it's not bad. Like, of course, it's bad to see Patrik Laine out for 3 months. It's terrible to see David Reinbacher out for 6 months. It's shocking, actually, to see David Reinbacher have a longer recovery period. But I do think that it is mostly because of the surgery. Like, Laine did not get surgery. So this is totally different here. But I do think that if you had pulled together Montreal Canadiens fans' opinions from the past 48 hours or so, you asked Habs fans, hey, how long do you think Laine is going to be out? I think most of them would have said something like, oh, a year? Maybe like 7 months? The entire 24-25 season? But no. This is a very common human psychological trait, right? Everybody in Canadiens Nation was expecting Laine to be out for much longer than 2 to 3 months. So the fact that it's only 2 to 3 months is awesome. Holy crap, it's better than we thought. David Reinbacher, it's way worse, and I do think that it piles on to some of the narratives we have been seeing about this guy, because it's like, hey, Reinbacher's going to be on the IR for pretty much the whole year, and then you're going to have Matvei Michkov in Philadelphia probably winning the Calder this year over a guy like Lane Hudson, over Macklin Celebrini. Look, Mishkov's probably going to get like 20 goals and let's say 30 assists this year, maybe even a lot more goals. Maybe I'm going very conservative on him. It's going to be great for Philadelphia seeing him tear up the NHL, but for Montreal Canadiens fans, to have had a chance to draft Mishkov only to see him get taken elsewhere, and the guy you took instead is going through what was like a third knee injury, that absolutely sucks. And the video we made earlier this morning, it sucks to be a Habs fan, I think it's still true. Like, obviously, you would not want to see Patrik Laine or David Reinbacher get injured at all. But at the same time, I'm still thinking about it. Like, we all thought Laine would be out for longer. So this really is just, I don't want to say best case scenario. Best case scenario would have been like, oh yeah, he's actually good to go tomorrow. But like, no, that's not realistic. 2 to 3 months. That's not that bad. And so now we're thinking about it like, okay, who makes the team if this is the case? You have Joshua, who is probably going to get placed up in the lineup here. Him, Doc, and Newhook are probably going to be the second line. You have a spot open on the third line. Do you want to get Oliver Kapanen in there? Do you want to give a chance to a guy like Emil Heineman? Is Alex Barré-Boulet automatically on the team? What happens when Raphael Harvey-Pinard comes back? There are a lot of guys here that have shown off very well in the preseason. Not Raphael Harvey-Pinard, he hasn't played. But I guess you could say that when Harvey-Pinard does return, there might need to be some sort of a bounce back period. Like, he hasn't played this entire time, so maybe he needs to kind of stabilize things, go to practice, work on his conditioning, cardio, really make it so that he's able to compete with NHL speed once again. Patrik Laine maybe needs to exhibit the same thing, but in 3 months. So maybe if he takes 2 to 3 months to recover, Patrik Laine maybe takes an extra 2 or 3 weeks to get back in the game shape. I mean, maybe that's being a little bit extreme, but we have seen it in the past with guys like Patrick Kane, for example. Last year, Patrick Kane had the back surgery, and he was ready to go after multiple months of the regular season going down, plus the summer for his recovery period. So, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? Whether or not Patrik Laine recovers in 2 months and he's able to go in 2 months and he comes into the NHL and he starts scoring goals like crazy, that remains to be seen. Whether or not David Reinbacher takes 6 to 7 months and then some to actually start skating again, that remains to be seen. Injuries are tough. These things are also difficult for hockey players especially, but when it comes to the knees, they're very vulnerable things on the body. So for Patrik Laine to only be out 2 to 3 months, for David Reinbacher to be out much longer than that, it is very surprising, but I'm not necessarily going to say that it's worse than we thought. Maybe for Reinbacher it's worse than we thought, but for Laine, hell no. This is a lot better. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Patrik Laine and David Reinbacher's injury status is revealed. What do you think the plan should be here for the Laval Rocket in terms of minutes? What are your thoughts on how the Montreal Canadiens are going to bounce back from this? What do you think their forward core plan is? Alex Barré-Boulet, Emil Heineman, Oliver Kapanen, Raphael Harvey-Pinard. What's the situation here? Do you give a bigger role to Brendan Gallagher or a Josh Anderson now? Try to give your veteran guys a little bit more ice time. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think the plan is here for Montreal? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.